Hello, this is Lou Dolphin, and welcome to Sentinels of the Multiverse, weekly one-shot, week number 37. Nightmare Walking. Reality suddenly turned itself inside out. The heroes, after recovering from an incredible burst of nausea, found themselves in a place most unreal. Maya fought through the lingering effects of Donovan's psychic attacks and asked, "Did we stop him?" The Dark Visionary was already levitating well above, or was it below, the heroes, observing the strange plane they inhabited. It doesn't matter one way or another. His master's new form is complete, and the Skinwalker draws near. Skyscraper suddenly transformed into a Skyscraper suddenly transformed into a giant, striding forward to challenge the terrifying figure emerging from a nearby portal. "We are to be stopping you, demon thing person." Cool. So Skinwalker, Gloomweaver, Normal against Skyscraper, Super Scientific Tachyon, Dark Visionary, and Rook City Wraith in the Realm of Discord. It's the exact same team as last week, except in reverse order. Nice touch. Yeah, last week was Spite, Agent of Gloom, against Rook City Wraith, Dark Visionary, Super Scientific Tachyon, and Skyscraper in Omnitron 4. This week it's Skinwalker Gloomweaver against Skyscraper, Super Scientific Tachyon, Dark Visionary, and Rook City Wraith in the Realm of Discord. Different environment, but the same hero team in reverse order against Skinwalker Gloomweaver. Skinwalker Gloomweaver is usually what follows after Spite, Agent of Gloom. In fact, the reason that that version of Spite is called Agent of Gloom is because he's working to revive Gloomweaver, and Skinwalker Gloomweaver is the revived Gloomweaver. So this is the sequel to last week. Let's see how it goes. Hello again, tiny mortals. I have returned and am ready to feast. It is the time to be fighting. This is a thing I am not bad at. Very much the opposite. Alright. So Skyscraper, I'm not going to read the hero card, or the powers this time because we've seen them last week. And I think I'm not even going to bother reading text. I've been spending a lot of time reading text, and last week's video was 2 hours, so I'm going to just focus on, describing the cards that I'm playing as opposed to what's in hand, but I'll pull them up in big if you want to read them. But we have a Cortex Hyperstimulator, an Explosive Reveal, a Linking Incursion, and a Thorathian Monolith. And Super Scientific Tachyon has an Accelerated Assault, a Fleet of Foot, a Nimble Strike, and a Sonic Vortex. Dark Visionary has a Decoy Projection, a Mental Divergence, a second Mental Divergence, and a Mind Spike. And Rook City Wraith has an Impromptu Invention, a Micro-Targeting Computer, a Throat Jab, and a Utility Belt. Good hand for Wraith. Actually, as the side effect of not reading the cards text, I didn't actually pay that much attention to what these cards were. Visionary's at least set up for destroying ongoings. Tachyon has a Fleet of Foot. That's always a great card to start with, and some card draws there. Skyscraper doesn't... Well, no, I guess she has cards for tiny, normal, and huge. Thorathian Monolith is probably a card that we will wish to keep for when we're on Skinwalker Gloomweaver's flipped side. I will read Gloomweaver's card, though, because this is the variant Gloomweaver, so if you only played the base Gloomweaver, it plays differently, as always. At the start of the game, Gloomweaver enters play Skinwalker side up, Pouch of Bones is put into play, the villain deck is shuffled. So Pouch of Bones, I'll read that before we proceed, because there's a point that has to be made. It's a relic with 25 HP, reduced damage dealt to zombies by 1. Whenever a zombie enters play, each villain target regains 4 HP. So reduced damage dealt to zombies by 1. Pay attention to the key words on Gloomweaver. It says villain, zombie. This version of Gloomweaver is a zombie on this side, and so it is affected by Pouch of Bones. So Gloomweaver starts with damage taken -1, but he only has 50 HP on his side. Gameplay. The first time a non-villain target is destroyed each turn, the top card of the villain deck is played. So if we destroy an environment target, then Gloomweaver plays extra cards. None of these heroes have many targets within their deck, except, nope, never mind, that's a lie. That's a lie. Visionary has a decoy projection. That is a non-villain target. If the decoy projection is destroyed, then the top card of the villain deck gets played. If it's the first instance of a non-villain target being destroyed in that turn. When Gloomweaver would be destroyed, his villain character card flips to the Rotting God side instead. That is strange text. Flips to the Rotting God side instead. There's 2 thes in a row there, but that's because the side of that card is called the Rotting God, whatever. At the end of the villain turn, Gloomweaver deals the non-villain target with the second lowest HP 3 melee damage. So if Gloomweaver flips, and he will flip if we aim to win, when flipped to the side, Gloomweaver's maximum HP is 100. Gloomweaver is restored to 100 HP. So, whoopsies. 50 HP on this side, 100 on the other. That's a lot. Before I proceed, he's not a zombie on this side, just so you know. At the start of the villain turn, Gloomweaver deals each target 4 infernal damage. Each target. That means villain target, that means villain character card, in addition to hero targets, in addition to environment targets. Whenever a cultist is destroyed, the top card of the villain deck is played. So on his front side, it's when a non-villain target is destroyed. Or the first time a non-villain target is destroyed. On his reverse side, it's whenever a cultist is destroyed. The top card of the villain deck gets played. However, whenever a target is destroyed, Gloomweaver regains 2 HP. So for any target that's destroyed, Gloomweaver absorbs them and regains 2 HP. At the end of the villain turn, Gloomweaver deals each non-hero target 2 infernal damage. So, start of the villain turn, he hits a lot of things for 4 damage, but it also includes villain targets, which is interesting. At the end of the villain turn, he hits each non-hero target, which means environment targets and villain targets, for 2 infernal damage. So he has 100 HP on this side, but he tends to hit himself a lot. But he does hit everyone for a lot as well. So that's why I wanted to keep the Thorathian Monolith, because it would potentially be 8 damage to Skyscraper instead of 4 damage to 4 heroes, but that's... I don't know if we even want to do that, but let's not get too far ahead of ourselves. Remember, we're on our front side. First time a non-villain target is destroyed, top card of the villain deck is played. At the end of the villain turn, Gloomweaver deals the non-villain target with the second lowest HP 3 melee damage. So the Pouch of Bones comes out. Deck is shuffled. First card played is a Zombie Servant. Zombie enters play, so villain targets regain HP, but they're at max. Gloomweaver hits the second lowest, which is Tachyon, and Zombie Servant hits the highest, which is Skyscraper. So, unlike base Gloomweaver starts with H zombies in play, so we would have 4 zombies in play at this point, but in this game we only have 1 zombie, so I don't know if they even want to bother going for it. Unless we don't want... Well, I guess... Doesn't matter, because it's not a cultist. So if we want to really, get past Gloomweaver's defense, we would want to take out the Pouch of Bones, because the Pouch of Bones is going to reduce damage dealt to Gloomweaver. And furthermore, whenever a zombie enters play, not only Gloomweaver, but all villain targets regain 4 HP. So if we want to burn through the 50 HP, we might want to get rid of the Pouch of Bones. On the other hand, if we take Gloomweaver down to 0, regardless of the Pouch of Bones, and then he flips, he's no longer a zombie, so Pouch of Bones doesn't affect him, and then Gloomweaver might as well destroy the Pouch of Bones himself with all the damage going on that side. So it's like a little dilemma. Do we wish to take out the Pouch of Bones first and then take out Gloomweaver, or do we want to take out Gloomweaver and then have Gloomweaver take out the Pouch of Bones when it's no longer relevant? Dilemma. So let's see. Cortex Hyperstimulator, play next target, reduce the first damage dealt by that target each turn by 1. At the end of its turn, a target deals itself 1 lightning damage. This is a great card for Gloomweaver, especially once he's hitting everyone on his flip side, because then this could reduce damage to the hero target first. And he's always going to be dealing damage on either side. So it would reduce damage first, and then he would hit himself for the 1 lightning. Although with the damage resistance by the Pouch of Bones, it's not super useful. Explosive Reveal, we're currently normal, and there are no link cards in place, so it's not super useful. Linking Incursion would get us 2 links right away, but then our base power would turn into play up to 2 link cards from hand, which we only have the 1. And then Thorathian Monolith is something we might want to keep. Unless we want to become huge. This is our only huge card. If we become huge, You know, we will hit Gloomweaver for 1, we'll hit the Pouch of Bones for 2, we'll destroy the Zombie Servant, but we lose the Rathian Monolith. And we don't have the means, this team doesn't have the means of pulling cards from their trash as easily. Actually, no, never mind. You know who has a card? I'm doing a good job today. You know who has a card that allows for a hero to take an ongoing card from the trash and put on top of their deck? Dark Visionary. So we could pull a Thorathian Monolith game if we set this up correctly. But I feel like I want to stay normal. Like, one strategy I've been doing recently with Skyscraper is to stay as normal size for at least the first turn, because then I can draw more cards. And then based on those cards, I decide whether I want to turn huge and deal damage to things, or turn tiny and play a lot of links, which might be useful. So I think I'll play the Cortex Hyperstimulator. It's the only card that has use currently. Really, I mean, like I guess the tiny and the huge cards have use, but the Cortex Hyperstimulator at least keeps me normal. So play that on Gloomy, and then we'll draw 2 cards, and then draw 1 more. So we get a Rest and Recover, another Rest and Recover, and a Linking Incursion. So we didn't get any more links. And based on the cards we drew, we might stay normal further. Although this is another card. I said this team lacks being able to pull cards from the trash, but Skyscraper has her own card that does that. Move 1 card other than Rest and Recover from your trash to your hand. So we could use this to keep the Rathian Monolith around for more. But I don't know. Let's see. So Fleet of Foot is always the first card to play when you have a choice. We get a Proportionist. That's another card. This will increase sonic damage dealt by Skyscraper by 1. When switched to a larger size, deal each non-hero target 1 melee. That's great. When switched to a smaller, draw a card. We'll just have to be able to get this out in order to be able to, utilize it. And a Quick Insight, a Mass Levitation, and a Grappling Hook. Alright, so we get to play 1 more card. So do we wish to cycle through her deck faster? Do we wish to deal damage right now? Do we wish to deal 1 damage across the board? I think the answer to that depends on what we're going to play with with Wraith, and with an Impromptu Invention, we have a great choice here. I foresee her getting out throwing knives and playing the micro-targeting computer. With that, she can deal 3 projectile damage to all 3 of the villain targets, except there will be 2 to Gloomweaver. But it'll be good. It'll be a good means of, spreading out damage, hitting the Pouch of Bones as well as Gloomweaver. So I don't need to Accelerated Assault to hit the Zombie Servant and whittle it down. Nimble Strike would hit something for 1, but I'd only draw 1 card, whereas Quick Insight I draw 3, and then I can lose 2 that I don't want. So, and I'll also put bursts in my trash if I want them. So I'll play the Quick Insight. We got a Synaptic Interruption, a second Synaptic Interruption, and a Research Grant. Research Grant, I think, is a great power for base Tachyon, because it replaces her base power of reveal the top card of your deck. Either you may you may discard it. That's the only option. You may reveal the top card of your deck. If you don't like it, you can discard it. That's it. It turns it into draw 2 cards, discard a card, which I believe is slightly better because you get to discard a card, but you also can draw 2 cards, and you can even discard a card from your hand instead of the top card of your deck. With Super Scientific Tachyon, however, I tend to prefer to want to experiment, especially if Tachyon can only use 1 power, because this can get more bursts in your trash if the bottom 2 cards are both a burst, or if only 1 is a burst, that also will be put into the trash. And it's also, it can be used on the other heroes, which is nice. Synaptic Interruption will be super useful, though, when Gloomweaver is flipped, because this will be able to redirect whenever Tachyon will be dealt 3 or more, and on Gloomweaver's flip side, he's going to deal 4 damage, so that's definitely 3 or more. So you want to keep the Synaptic Interruptions, I believe. If our quest is to get rid of bursts, then I think we should ditch the Accelerated Assault and the Nimble Strike. That will power up the Sonic Vortex, in addition to the Fleet of Foot and the Quick Insight that will be put into the trash. The question is, do I want to keep one of them over Research Grant? I think I'll just keep the Research Grant and then potentially play it as fodder on a later turn, maybe. So Accelerated Assault and Nimble Strike, that puts 2 bursts in my trash. And then the 2 cards I played are in my trash, so now I have 4 bursts in my trash. And now the question is, who do we wish to experiment on? So Tachyon's always the easy choice. Skyscraper has a variety of cards. I don't think the chances are good though, because there are some one-shots, there are some equipments. All the equipments are links as well, so the link word is sort of extraneous in terms of experiment. We have one-shots, some ongoings, and potentially overlap between, you know, huge, because one-shot huge versus ongoing huge. I think that's the only size card that isn't a one-shot is the Rathian Monolith. On the other hand, Visionary has a variety of cards in general, but if we get lucky enough that both Twist the Ethers are on the bottom, we can put them on Gloomweaver, and then on the flip side, he hits everything that's non-hero for a lot, and all the heroes for even less. But if we get a Rest the Mind out, that would be a little annoying. If we get a Telekinetic Cocoon, that would be a little sad. A lot of cards that can control decks. But yeah, a lot of one-shots and ongoings, except for Decoy Projection, which is a distortion, but it is limited, and a lot of the ongoings are limited. And then Wraith has a lot of equipments, but a lot of one-shots as well. And then 2 ongoings. So I think Tachyon, because I don't really know what I'm particularly looking for right now, is the better option. And we get a Quick Insight and a Hypersonic Assault. So the Hypersonic Assault is going to stop the Zombie Servant from dealing damage. The Quick Insight will draw another 3 cards and then discard 2, so the order doesn't matter. We get a Blinding Speed, a Sucker Punch, and a Lightspeed Barrage. So obviously we want to keep the Lightspeed Barrage. And we wish to keep the Synaptic Interruptions. Sucker Punch would destroy zombies, but I think we don't need to worry about taking out the zombies as much, because we do have Wraith, as well as a Sonic Vortex if we need it. And the Blinding Speed is nice. It is a means of destroying environment cards, as well as ongoing cards. Although Gloomweaver only has 1 ongoing card in his deck, which is Strength of the Grave, which is a pretty potent ongoing card. I think I saw how potent it was a few weeks ago against the standard Gloomweaver game, but in this version, I mean, once we take out the Zombie Servant, there will be only 1 zombie in play. So increased damage dealt by zombies by 1, and reduced damage dealt to zombies by 1, which is bad when coupled with the Pouch of Bones to Gloomweaver, but although none of the other heroes currently have means of environment destruct. Oh no, we have Grappling Hook, that's right. And Visionary has permanent ongoing destruction with her Mental Divergence, so I don't need to worry about that as much. So we'll get rid of the Blinding Speed. And then we'll play the Hypersonic Assault. That's going to stop 2 targets from dealing damage. Nope, I lied. Just kidding. I forgot. Zombie Servant also has damage reduction because of Pouch of Bones. So only Pouch of Bones is prevented from dealing damage, which is annoying because it's the only card that doesn't deal damage right now. We draw HUD Goggles for more card plays. Alright. So we are still going to be destroying the Zombie Servant with Wraith for sure. And because Gloomweaver says the first time a non-villain target is destroyed each turn the top card of the villain deck is played, I'm wary of playing the Decoy Projection. Not just because it can be destroyed by, like, you know, things trying to hit Visionary and hitting the Decoy Projection instead, but because the Decoy Projection has the keyword Distortion, and the Realm of Discord has distortion cards that say when this card enters play, destroy all other distortion cards. Those could also destroy the Decoy Projection, and if they play that, if the environment plays that, and then destroys the Decoy Projection, then Gloomweaver gets to play a card. So I'm wary of playing the Decoy Projection on this side. Mass Levitation would be a means of reducing damage by environment cards. I don't know that there's any that I'm particularly worried about right now. Um, this would stop the ethereal bonds from acting. Explosive bubbles would then, yeah, be neutered. Portal Fiend, but it doesn't act right away, and there's not even any cards in the trash. Negative Energy Field would also be neutered. Because this is environment cards, right? Yeah, environment cards. Well, I think that I would rather play Mind Spike right now, in all honesty. I'm just going to do that. So now the question is, who do you wish to hit for 3 Psychic? Because it will be 2 to Gloomweaver. And I don't know, I'm more inclined to set this to Gloomweaver because this is only a 33% reduction in damage versus, 100% if it was a 1 damage thing. So I feel like I just want to focus on Gloomweaver because the sooner we flip him, the sooner, the game progresses, and then the Pouch of Bones would also be less of an issue. So now we can use Turmoil, and I always default to selecting Gloomweaver's deck for this. So I will. This allows me to decide what to put in play. We have a Crimson Pin, which is placed next to the hero with the highest HP, and at the end of their turn they're dealt irreducible toxic damage versus the Sable Pin. Place it next to the hero with the most cards in play. That hero has to destroy one of their cards or is dealt 4 psychic damage. I feel like we can deal with irreducible damage. Well, the Cortex Hyperstimulator is in play, so the Sable Pin, since at the end of that hero's turn, it will be the first time Gloomweaver would have dealt damage, so it will be reduced by 1, so it will be 3 psychic damage to that hero. And that's going to be Wraith, because no one else has cards in play right now, other than their base cards. And Wraith is definitely going to get 2 equipments in play, unless Impromptu Invention reveals another Impromptu Invention and can get even more equipments. So I think Sable Pin's probably the better bet. Wraith will be taking more damage, but if we can get, like, combat stance, we can even hit Gloomweaver more. And then if we get a Smoke Bombs and Wraith gets hit for too much, we can redirect it and reduce it by 1. So we'll put the Sable Pin in play. Or on top of the deck, rather. That will be Gloomweaver's next play. We draw a precog. So let us go ahead and impromptu invent a combat stance. Perfect. And I wanted to throwing knives. And with the micro-targeting computer, so that I can hit these things for 3 damage instead of 1. And this will perfectly take out the Zombie Servant. And then we do 3 on the Pouch of Bones. We draw Razor Ordnance. Alright. Realm of Discord is playing Time Crawls. When this card enters play, destroy all of the distortion cards. Each hero turn, that hero's player must skip either their play or power phase. Reduce all damage dealt by villain targets by 1. So, little off-putting. But at least Gloomweaver has damage reduction. Sable Pin comes out. Put on Rook City Wraith. Visionary is the second lowest. Is only hit for 1. And then the Cortex Hyperstimulator went off. So we do have to make a choice here. Do we want to use her base power and draw 2 cards, or would we rather play a card? So Explosive Reveal will do something right now. It will deal up to 1 target, 2 projectile and 2 fire damage each, which will be 1 and 1 to Gloomweaver, so not super exciting. If I put out Proportionist, I will not be able to do anything else with this turn. If I put out Rest and Recover, there's nothing in my trash, so it's not super useful. If I put out Thorathian Monolith, damage will be redirected, but there's not a lot of damage going on right now. If I put out the Linking Incursion, we'll reveal 2 links for sure. We'll put them into play or hand, and then we'll skip our Tiny Power. We do have 2 Linking Incursions, and we do have a means of getting back to normal. So getting 2 links potentially into play is probably a bit better than drawing 2 cards. I'm gonna do that. We have a microassembler, as well as an aggression modulator. So there are no environment targets in play, so this isn't super exciting. Microassembler allows for someone to discard a card with their power and then search their deck for new equipment, putting it into play or hand. So that is at least useful, but aggression modulator is for sure going to hand. But the microassembler Visionary doesn't have any equipments, so it's the question of who of these other three heroes would prefer this, and Wraith, you know, potentially likes it, especially with the utility belt, because we can get any equipment from her deck into play, and then can still use a second power, or we could use the power to put a utility belt into play, and then use throwing knives, if we still want to use throwing knives as well as get a utility belt out. I mean, I think it would be a little silly to discard a utility belt to put a utility belt from the deck into play, but it's a means of bypassing the time crawls condition. Yeah, I think we'll put this on Wraith, and then Wraith is going to be more able to get any equipment out as needed. I had to skip our power, but we draw a compulsion canister. That's great. Alright, so we can only play cards or use a power. And Tachyon generally prefers to play cards in general. So I think we're going to play cards. So I think it's going to be HUD Goggles and Sonic Vortex. Because there are 4 bursts. Actually, no, there's even more. There's 7 bursts in my trash. So Sonic Vortex will deal up to 7 targets, 3 sonic damage. But being able to hit Gloomweaver for 2 and Pouch of Bones for 3 is generally useful. Alternatively, I could get the Synaptic Interruption out. And then I could save the Sonic Vortex. Oh, and nope, there is actually a 3rd target in play. Don't forget the Sable Pin, it's in play. But I mean, the Synaptic Interruption is going to have to be put into play at some point before Gloomweaver flips. Although it could be played, you know, after Gloomweaver is flipped. It'd just be better to have it out already. On the other hand, Sonic Vortex, you know, if there are more targets to hit, it might be better to be able to have that option. And it doesn't make a difference unless Pouch of Bones says, you know, regain HP. So HUD Goggles for sure. I think I'm just going to get the Synaptic Interruption out instead. I won't deal damage, but I'll have that ongoing out. And we draw another research grant. Alright, Visionary. We have a choice. Either we can reveal the top 2 cards of a deck, put one on top, one on the bottom, or we can play any of these 5 cards. And we have the same situation as before, except instead of the damage dealing one-shot, we have reveal the top 3 cards of the villain deck one-shot. And this is slightly better than her base power. Reveal the top 3 cards, put 1 on the top and 2 on the bottom. Because I think, I mean, putting out Mental Divergence means I do nothing, because I don't have power. I can't use a power, as well as Mass Levitation, and then Decoy Projection is going to be a persistent issue on this side. So I think we're just going to skip our power and use Precognition instead. Reveal a Vast Following, which we definitely, well, I mean, if we get a Vast Following out of the way, it will at least, you know, not reveal any cultists or relics, because there are none in the trash. But we will have a play the top card of the villain deck action, which we will, you know, it's up in the air what that will do. We also have a Zombie Servant, but if the zombie enters play, then Gloomweaver regains 4 HP. And a Cursed Acolyte, which is currently going to do 1/1 damage because of time crawls. So, I feel like the Acolyte is probably a bit better. I mean, again, we don't have any relics in the trash, or any cultists, so Vast Following is just a dead play, and he has 3 copies of Vast Following, since the other one is revealed. So if we get 1 out of the way, there will be only 2 left, and if, you know, the Vast Following reveals a Vast Following, we'll get 2 out of the way, but, you know, it'll just then be random what he plays after that. Is that a gamble we want to take? The other thing about the cultist, though, is that if we get the cultist in play and we destroy it on this side, there's no penalty. But if we destroy the cultist on the other side, then Gloomweaver plays the top card of his deck. So it's basically, do we want to play the top card of the deck now? Or a random top card of the deck now, or top card of the deck later? Although with the Acolyte, you know, we can at least destroy it, and then it'll be in the trash until a Vast Following reveals it. But for sure, I don't want to put the zombie in play, because that will restore Gloomweaver by 4 HP. And the Vast Following could also reveal a zombie servant, and there are 3 more outside of this one. So let's put the Acolyte on top. And Vast Following on the very bottom is, I believe, the best place for that. And we draw a Prophetic Vision, which is the environment equivalent of Precognition. So, if I want to use throwing knives this turn, but I also want to put Utility Belt, I should skip my play, use the Microassembler to discard the Utility Belt to put a Utility Belt from my deck into play, and then I can use throwing knives. I think that's better than these other options. So skip my play. On my power, discard a card, like Utility Belt. And oh look, there's a Utility Belt in my deck. I'm gonna put that into play. And now I'm gonna use throwing knives to hit Gloomy and Pouch of Bones and Sablepin. We draw another Grappling Hook. Now I could destroy a card to not take this damage, but I'm gonna keep them in play because it is only gonna be 2 because of Time Crawls as well as Cortex Hyperstimulator. And Time Crawls is now gone. Imbued Fatality, increase all damage dealt by 1. So now, now the Cursed Acolyte, we said, oh, it's only gonna do 1 and 1 damage. Now it's gonna do 3 and 3 damage. This is gonna hurt. But that's okay, because at least Gloomy hits himself for more. And order does not matter, although Tachyon could redirect one of these. But only one of these. And it's not going to save us. And I want to save that Synaptic. So we're just going to have to take this damage. But between Sonic Vortex and Throwing Knives, we will be able to take out the Cursed Acolyte, so no worries there. Actually, with Imbued Fatality, ooh, there might be a different option here instead. Still no environment target in play. But if I'm staying tiny, I'm going to be putting out the 2 links from hand into play. And then potentially, if I play the Compulsion Canister, you know, I can move it back to my hand with Sneaking. And it's irreducible damage. So it could be Gloomweaver hitting himself in the Cursed Acolyte, or the Cursed Acolyte hitting himself in Gloomweaver, or the Pouch of Bones hitting himself in Gloomweaver. Unless we want to rest and recover. The card in our trash is a Linking Incursion, which I don't know if that we want that. Proportionist. I mean, we could get this in play now, because I mean, the issue with Proportionist is you play it, and then that's your play. You can't switch a size. You have to wait 1 turn, always, in order for Proportionist to act. Unless you're huge, in which case the increased sonic damage dealt by Skyscraper by 1 already takes effect. But currently tiny, it's not going to have an immediate effect. Thorathian Monolith, I think we were saying we're going to still try to keep that for Flippy. Explosive Reveal is now going to do 3 and 3 damage to 2 targets if we destroy any number. Which could take out the Cursed Acolyte for us. I want to keep the Cortex Hyperstimulator, and I think Wraith still wants that Microassembler. I don't know, I feel like Proportionist is probably a little better right now. Nice thing about Proportionist when coupled with Thorathian Monolith is that the sonic damage doesn't hit the heroes. Especially with Imbued Fatality out. Or, sorry, I keep saying Fatality. Why is it for Fatality? I don't know. Frailty. Imbued Frailty. With Imbued Frailty out, plus Proportionist, that would be 2 sonic damage to all hero targets, except... Here, I'll show you. 2 sonic... That's not it. 2 sonic, 0+2 to each hero target, except with Thorathian Monolith, they would be all redirected to Skyscraper, who would reduce it by 2, so... I feel like Proportionist is the better play. I mean, Compulsion Canister would be fun, but I can do that at any point. Actually, I can play that with my Tiny, and then I can put it back into my hand immediately. So I'm going to do that. Proportionist, and then I will play up to 2 links, such as Compulsion Canister, and I know I definitely want Gloomweaver to be hitting himself. So the question is, what about the Cursed Acolyte? I think, so if I'm going to play Sonic Vortex and Synaptic Interruption as my 2 plays, then Throwing Knives will be able to take out the Cursed Acolyte for sure. So I'm going to focus this on the Pouch of Bones. And then the Aggression Modulator, we don't have an environment target still, so I'm not going to play that. But now I can take a link back into my hand, such as the Compulsion Canister. And we draw an Emergency Evac. That's an environment destruction card. In fact, it's a really potent card. You have to destroy all links, but after you destroy all links, you also destroy all environment cards, as well as up to 2 villain ongoing cards. Unfortunately, there's only 1 villain ongoing card in a deck, but I mean, being able to destroy 2 villain ongoing cards is pretty good. As well as HP recover to each hero target. And you're also normal size, so you can draw more cards. Yeah, we're going to get the second Synaptic as well as the Sonic Vortex. We can hit Gloomweaver. We can hit the Pouch of Bones. We can hit the Cursed Acolyte. And we can hit the Sable Pin. And then I could hit Tachyon to redirect it to someone else and destroy the Synaptic Interruption. I'm gonna save that though, for, you know, damage that is going to try to hit Tachyon for sure. And then Experiment. If I experiment on Tachyon and I reveal a Sucker Punch, we can destroy Cursed Acolyte. If I experiment and I reveal Blinding Speed, we'd have to choose between destroying an ongoing or destroying Imbued Frailty. And Imbued Frailty is helping us right now, despite the damage that we took in the previous turn, or previous villain turn. And I don't think we really have other ongoings we want to lose. If I experiment on Skyscraper and I reveal at least 1 link, they can potentially be put into the trash, which, or like if 2 links are put into play, that's great. If 1 link is revealed, but the other card isn't an equipment or a link, then it will be put into the trash, but Skyscraper could still pull it from the trash. On the other hand, if it's a link we don't really want right now, which I don't know that there are links we don't want, but, you know, actually a Rebounding Debilitator will be nice. For, you know, preventing damage. And then there's, of course, Visionary. I think I really want to experiment on Visionary, because if I reveal a Twist the Ether, I want to get Twist the Ether out at some point. If I reveal a Twist the Ether, even if it doesn't get put into play, it could be pulled back by Mental Divergence, which we do have in our hand. So I'm going to experiment on Visionary. Unfortunately, we did not reveal a Twist the Ether, and furthermore, these are getting discarded. We draw a Hypersonic Assault. Alright, so same situation as the past 2 turns, and I think the one-shot is the better option. I don't really like playing Mental Divergence unless I intend on using it. Granted, this villain doesn't have much in the way of hero card destruction. It tends to be optional, like either destroy a card or take damage. But I tend to want to keep cards like these, like cards that have a power of destroying a card, until I'm going to use it that turn. Because it's like, oh, if I'm going to play this, you know, to have it in a later turn, and then the villain plays a card that says, I'm going to destroy this card, you've lost it. But if I have this card in hand, I can't lose it unless I have to discard it by other means. But if I play it and then use the power immediately, you know, it happens. it acts more like a whole turn versus, you know, I'll play it and then on the turn that I would destroy it, I could also play another card, but I generally like to keep those for when I know I'm going to use them. But, you know, Mass Levitation, I'm not going to be using it right now. And then the Decoy Projection, I'm not going to play on this side. So let's reveal the environment deck. We get a Portal Fiend, we get an Ethereal Bonds, and we get an Explosive Bubbles. This hits the hero target with the highest HP. The target dealt damage this way cannot deal damage until the next turn. That's going to be Skyscraper, which will be sad. This is going to deal 3 because of the imbued frailty to the 5 non-environment targets with the highest HP. One of them is Gloomweaver, and then it'll be the 4 heroes, because the 2 villains are lower than that. Portal Fiend at least won't act right away. It will hit the non-environment with the second highest, which will be a hero target unless Gloomweaver somehow happens to fall that low. I think we want the Portal Fiend on top. And Ethereal Bonds, since it's going to hit a hero, I'm going to put on the very bottom. And then reveal the top 2 cards of a deck, such as Gloomweavers. You have a Zombie Servant and the Strength of the Grave. I'm not too fond of Strength of the Grave, but with only 1 zombie in play, Gloomweaver, it will only increase damage dealt by Gloomweaver by 1. It will reduce damage dealt to Gloomweaver by 1. But it's better than a Zombie Servant entering play, Gloomweaver and Pouch of Bones regaining 4 HP. And then this thing will hit the highest for 2 plus 1. So I think Strength of the Grave is the answer. Plus we can destroy it with, you know, Visionary. And we draw Mind Spike. The other heroes also have means of doing that as well, though. Alright, so... second lowest is Tachyon. Actually, no, with Combat Stance, the Sable Pin will hit Wraith. Unless I destroy it, but I want to take out the Cursed Acolyte and then hit the Pouch of Bones and Gloomweaver. So no, Combat Stance will let Wraith hit Gloomweaver when she takes the damage, and then she might be second lowest at that point, so then Gloomweaver will hit her again. So let's put out the Combat Stance. And actually, I forgot I have a Utility Belt, so I have 2 powers. But since I played the card, if I want to keep Mint, I can't undo. So definitely going to use Throwing Knives. If I had remembered I had a second power, I probably would have used Razor Ordnance instead, or played Razor Ordnance, but I'm going to use this to hit Gloomweaver. And then the Cursed Acolyte, because that's hitting us for a lot. And I could take out the Sable Pin, and I don't have to worry about the damage. But... I mean, the Pouch of Bones, we've already done a lot of damage to it. We'll be able to destroy it in the next round, for sure. I guess the question is, do I want to do it... If I take out the Sable Pin, Wraith doesn't take damage, but then she'll be hitting Gloomweaver for less, because less Combat Stance actions. On the other hand, if I take out the Sable Pin, Pouch of Bones will not act right away, but... Oh, and Compulsion Canister coupled with, what's the card on top? Strength of the Grave? That's going to be useful. Gloomweaver will be hitting himself for more, and it won't be reduced because irreducible. Looking ahead to Skyscraper's turn, but Compulsion Canister would be able to hit the Pouch of Bones for 4. A Hypersonic Assault might be played, potentially, although that's not going to get past damage reduction on Gloomweaver, though. So if I want to destroy the thing, I'm going to have to either, you know, Emergency Evac, which is going to lose our... It's also going to lose Imbued Frailty, so that's not super useful. I don't know. Strength of the Grave is going to hurt us a little bit, so... And yeah, with Strength of the Grave, I'm just going to hit the Sable Pin, I guess. It's a little safer on damage. And now, let's see, reveal the top card of the environment deck, play it or discard it. We know what it is, but if I play it or discard it, If I play it, it will act immediately, though. Remember what it was. It was Portal Fiend. And there's one card in the trash, but 1+1 is 2, and the second highest is Skyscraper. So it will deal 2 damage to Skyscraper immediately. If I discard it, that's cool, except then the environment is going to play something that we don't know. On the other hand, I could discard a card like Razor Ordnance and then put Razor Ordnance into play. Or I could get a different equipment in play. For instance, I mean, I'm probably going to want to get smoke bombs at some point. Infrared eyepiece. I mean, we already have Visionary for that, but it does let us draw a card. And then smoke bombs. Or stun bolt. I think I want to get more equipments in play. I think I'm going to lose the grappling hook since we do have a lot of abilities of destroying ongoings or environments. And then I can put smoke bombs in play, and then the next turn I could play... Oh no, I have to be able to destroy Pouch of Bones. I'm just going to play Razor Ordnance on my next turn. I'm going to put smoke bombs in play still, though. We draw an inventory barrage, so that's why I wanted to get more equipments in play, because this card will let me, you know, destroy all of them to do a lot of damage. Currently we can destroy 4 and deal 8 damage. +1. Portal Fiend comes out, doesn't act. Gloomweaver, Pouch of Bones comes out. Gloomweaver... Ooh! He's hitting the non-villain with the second lowest, so let's hit the Portal Fiend, because that's not Tachyon. Tachyon could redirect it, because it would be 5 to her, but... Or, sorry, it will still be 1, but... It's not really a point in redirecting it to Gloomweaver because of Pouch of Bones and Strength of the Grave affecting us. I think I definitely want to use Compulsion Canister. If I put the Aggression Modulator on the Portal Fiend hits the second highest. So if we can get Gloomweaver between 25 and 19 HP, then the Portal Fiend will go after Gloomweaver, and this will increase damage by the Portal Fiend by 1. I like to play this card. I think everyone likes to play this card on environment targets that deal indiscriminate damage, like deal each non-environment target 2 melee damage, because then that will neuter the hero damage, but hit the villains for more. But this deck lacks that. Actually, it doesn't lack that. We have an Explosive Bubbles. If I play this on the Explosive Bubbles, you know, it will... I mean, with Imbued Frailty, it will still do 1 damage to whatever heroes it hits, but it would deal 4 to... Or not 4, 3. Wait. I'm not mathing right. It would be +1. So 2 + 1 + 1 would do 4 damage to the villains. We had an opportunity of playing this, but then I said no, because that's a lot of damage. You know, when he played the Prophetic Vision, but we didn't play it. So I think we don't want to play that on the Portal Fiend. We want to play it on the Explosive Bubbles? Yeah. I don't have any other links other than a Compulsion Canister, which I would want to play. So I think I could do another linking incursion. This will reveal 2 more links. And then I can still play the Compulsion Canister and put it back into my hand. So play the linking incursion again. We get another Cortex Hyperstimulator and another Microassembler. So this can definitely be played. And I'm going to put this on Gloomweaver again. So now the first time he deals damage will be reduced by 2, but then he'll hit himself for 1 damage twice at the end of his turn. And then I think I do want to put this in play. I mean, Wraith already has one. We'll put this on Skyscraper. I don't think I'm going to use it right now, though. Let's see, what equipments would we want? Aggression modulator and compulsion canister are in our hand. Neutralizing resonator. This would have been nice to be able to have had, because then we could destroy the strength of the grave right now, but otherwise this only serves to discard the top card of the villain deck, which we don't know what it is. Rebounding debilitator. When that target would deal 3 or more, prevent the damage, and then either destroy it or put it on top of your deck. That's the only other one. I think I'd want to play at the 2 links, like the compulsion canister. And we'll have Gloomweaver do it, because its Strength of the Grave will increase it by a further 1. And then I'm still going to hit the Pouch of Bones, because it's almost down. Aggression Modulator I'm going to keep, and then we'll pull the Compulsion Canister back to our hand. And we get a Colossal Left Hook. Alright, with Hypersonic Assault, we actually can't hit Gloomweaver with this, but we would hit the Portal Fiend, so I would want to play it if I predict the Portal Fiend would not hit Gloomweaver. And I definitely don't want to play the Lightspeed Barrages. Or, sorry, Lightspeed Barrage, singular. We do have 2 research grants still. I could play both the research grants. I think Visionary is going to have to use Mental Divergence and then use the power to destroy Strength of the Grave, so Mind Spike isn't going to go off. But Wraith could play Razor Ordnance and then use it. So Throwing Knives with Imbued Frailty will do 4 damage, and Razor Ordnance with Imbued Frailty will do 6 damage. That's 10 damage to Gloomweaver. That'll take him down to 19, which ties him with Wraith. But he'll still be second highest. So, non-environment target with the second highest, this would hit Gloomweaver at that point. So I don't want to deal damage with Tachyon right now, for sure. So I'll just put out the 2 research grants, I think. Or at least 1. I'll put out 1. I'm actually thinking of using Research Grant because I don't have cards in my hand right now and I don't want to experiment on Tachyon's bottom 2 cards in case they will deal indiscriminate damage to Gloomweaver. I lied. Gloomweaver isn't going to take 10. He's going to take 8. Although Strength of the Grave will be gone. No, that will be 8 because Pouch of Bones. I can destroy Pouch of Bones. If I use Hypersonic Assault, it won't hit Gloomweaver, it will hit Pouch of Bones, it will hit Portal Fiend, and Portal Fiend won't deal damage. But then Tachyon would be able, or not Tachyon, Wraith will be able to destroy the Pouch of Bones with Throwing Knives before she hits Gloomweaver, and then we can hit Gloomweaver for 10. 10 total. So... yeah, I'm going to Hypersonic Assault. It's not going to hit Gloomweaver, but it will do enough damage to the Pouch of Bones for Tachyon, or not Tachyon, Wraith, to destroy it. Right? 1 plus... Nope, still can't. I can't math. I was thinking badly. I was thinking 6 damage. But Throwing Knives does 4. 1 plus 2 plus 1 is 4. So I don't want to use Research Grant. I want to try to get a damage dealer, so let's experiment on Tachyon. And we get discards, including a Fleet of Foot, which is sad. But at least a burst. And we get another Lightspeed Barrage. So yeah. I have to use Mental Divergence and then use it to destroy Strength of the Grave. And then we get Demoralization. Play the Razor Ordnance. I'm going to start with the Throwing Knives just in case I mathed wrong, but nope, there's the 4. I could destroy it if I take out a Synaptic Interruption, but I want to keep that for the flip side. It's okay though. We don't know what Gloomweaver is going to play, but if it's not a zombie, then Pouch of Bones is definitely dead. And then definitely use the Gloomy for more. We draw another utility belt. Explosive Bubbles comes out. That's not going to take out the Pouch of Bones. But at least now we can play the Aggression Modulator on it. Although Wraith is going to retaliate. So let's hit Gloomweaver first. I don't think that the card retroactively... I think the X has been set already. It's like, alright, 5 damage, or 5 targets has been set. So even if Wraith retaliates, it's not going to change the number of targets retroactively, right? It's at 2. Nope, it stopped it. Okay, I lied. It did retroactively set it. And of course, Gloomweaver played a vast following. Reveal the top 4 cards and put any revealed cultists and relics into play. Guess what? We're getting both the cursed, or we're getting a cursed acolyte back, because that was guaranteed. Oh, but Portal Fiend is the second lowest, so we have that going for us, which is nice. Cursed Acolyte is going to do a round of 3 and 3. I don't know if we want to weather this one. We do have both Synaptic Interruptions in play. Don't know if I wanted to lose them right now. Actually, if I hit Wraith, Wraith will combat stance. The first time. Do we have smoke bombs? We have smoke bombs, right? Smoke bombs will redirect it to Skyscraper. Skyscraper will take 2 and 2. And then we'll take 3 and 3. 23, 21, and then 18, 15. There might actually be a way to order this so that smoke bombs acts a lot. Well, let's see. So, alright, there are ways of getting rid of the Cursed Acolyte, but they will require me to get rid of Synaptic Interruption or both. I could have him hit Tachyon first, and then Tachyon would be able to Synaptic Interruption both of these hits. Both of them can go to Cursed Acolyte, and Cursed Acolyte would destroy himself at the cost of losing those Synaptic Interruptions that I was hoping to utilize on Gloomweaver's flip side. An alternative is that I hit Wraith. Combat Stance will act once, and will hit Cursed Acolyte for 3. But Wraith will have to take both hits. No. She'll take the first hit for 3, and the second will be redirected to Skyscraper for 2, because of smoke bombs. And then, if I have the next one hit Tachyon, Tachyon can Synaptic Interruption it to the Cursed Acolyte. So then the only damage that is done is a single Synaptic Interruption, but 3 damage to Wraith and 2 to Skyscraper. I think I am willing to do that. So hit Wraith. Wraith is hit once, combat stance reacts, and then the second is redirected. And then we'll hit Tachyon, who redirects it to Cursed Acolyte. Alright. So we still have the Compulsion Canister. And I do want to play the Aggression Modulator on the Explosive Bubbles now. For sure. Not actually super exciting though, because Gloomweaver's going to flip and then Gloomweaver's going to hit the Explosive Bubbles for too much. So I don't know that it's worth playing the Aggression Modulator, but it is something that can be used now. And Gloomweaver is going to flip, so I could Thorathian Monolith in preparation for that. It would take out the Explosive Bubbles. We did get a Sable Pin back out, right? Sable Pin is out, so yeah. So that is out. Um... I don't know. Compulsion Canister is going to do a lot of damage. Nope, not as much damage as last turn, because we lost Strength of the Grave. I could Colossal Left Hook. I think I want to wait until Pouch of Bones or Flip has happened. If it become huge, I'm switched to a larger size. Skyscraper deals each non-hero target 1 melee. So yeah, Portal Fiend and Explosive Bubbles and Pouch of Bones will be gone if I do that. It just becomes a question of what do we want to do after that. Tachyon doesn't... Like, we won't really want to play the Lightspeed Barrages just yet. There's still only 9 bursts in the trash. Imbued Frailty is going to increase the damage by 1, so it's going to hit Skyscraper 4 times for 3 damage, unless a single Synaptic Interruption goes off. I don't know. I'm going to throw out the Monolith. It happened. Don't be sad that it's over, be happy that it happened. Hit the Pouch of Bones first, though. That's necessary. You know, the Vast Following was a bad play. But it's actually a good play because we were 1 HP off from destroying the Pouch of Bones, and if we had destroyed it, Fast Following could have put it back into play. So, not that bad. But now there is no more damage reduction to Gloomweaver, so we can hit it hit it for full damage. So we'll definitely have him flipped. Oh, but we destroyed a non-villain target, so we played the top card of the deck. I forgot about that rule. It's just the first time, right? The first time a non-villain target is destroyed, so I can still destroy the Portal Fiend this turn. And I should, because he's likely to go off. Deals each non-hero target 2 Sonic. We'll take out the Portal Fiend. Yeah, we're definitely going to want to destroy as many villain and hero targets as possible so that Gloomweaver can't regain as much HP. So this is going to be 2 damage, but they'll all be redirected to Skyscraper, who has damage resistance by 2. We draw Tectonic Chokeslam. Okay. So again, I don't want to play the Lightspeed Barrages. We already have 1 research grant, but if I play the second one, you know, at least, you know, fodder. On the other hand, if I want to draw more cards, which I had wanted to do the previous turn, but then I wanted to try to deal damage and I lost that gamble. But if I research grant, I can draw 2 cards. I could discard 1, and if I like the 2 I drew, I can discard the research grant. So I'm going to do that, because I want to try to get pushing the limits, or some other better card. We get another Synaptic Interruption, and a Blinding Speed. So let's... Losing a burst would be a bit better, right? In general. But I could lose the research grant. Do I want to keep the Blinding Speed is the question. We don't need to worry about villain ongoing cards, so how much am I worried about environment cards? Claustrophobic Delusion is going to be awful. All non-hero targets other than the non-hero target with the lowest HP are immune to damage. I'm just going to lose the research grant. That was originally what I was planning on doing anyway. Let me draw a Sucker Punch. I didn't get the pushing the limits after all. Delightful. We do have a grappling hook still, so I don't know why I didn't remember that, but okay. If I throat jab Gloomweaver, I will be able to get him flipped without Visionary dealing damage, just by Wraith damage dealing. The issue though is that, I guess it's not really an issue, but he's not going to deal damage once he flips. Or he's not going to be dealing the damage, you know, on the flip, whatever. Although, if I don't get him flipped right away, he will take himself out with the Cortex Hyperstimulators. And then once he flips, his damage would be done at the end of his turn, and then he's gonna deal each non-hero target 2 infernal damage, so it won't hit the heroes at all. So it might be better to just have him flip on his own turn. So let's not deal damage. We don't know what the environment's playing still, though. But I'm gonna put out Demoralization because damage increase. Or not damage increase, more damage being dealt. That's the word. This is at the start of your turn. The Visionary deals each villain target 1 psychic damage. Automatic damage is cool. It's indiscriminate, but it's automatic. Alright, so I've been hitting Gloomweaver with this, and Gloomweaver is gonna flip. Yeah, I think we're gonna do Gloomweaver. I was thinking about the environment, but I want to do Gloomy. And the Zombie Servant is the better option because once he flips, whenever a cultist is destroyed, the top card of the villain deck is played. So let's not get cultists in play. Especially because the cultist will pull a zombie from the trash. Let me draw a Precognition. Alright, so unfortunately, if I don't want to deal more damage to Gloomweaver outside of Throwing Knives and Razor Ordnance, I don't want to play any of these cards. It's too early for Inventory Barrage. I don't want to Throat Jab him. And there's nothing to Grappling Hook. So we'll skip. And then we'll Razor Ordnance and Throwing Knives. We draw Micro-Targeting, another redundant card. Negative Energy Field, okay. When this card enters play, destroy all other distortion cards. Whenever a card is played, deal the 4 targets with the highest HP 1 infernal damage each. Not super useful. Zombie Servant enters play, so he's hitting the 4 highest. Unfortunately, that's not hitting Gloomweaver. But it is redirecting the Skyscraper, so it's not super bad. He flipped, and now he's dealing damage to everything. So now whenever he destroys it, or whenever a target is ever destroyed, Gloomweaver absorbs them. So hit Zombie Servant first so that Gloomweaver can't actually regain HP, and then he hits himself, and then the second Cortex Hyperstimulator goes off. Okay. So whenever a card is played, so if I become tiny again, and I play up to 2 link cards, Negative Energy Field is going to go off twice. If I play Tectonic Chokeslam, not Tectonic Chokeslam, if I play Colossal Left Hook, and I discard a card to play a card, Negative Energy Field will go off twice. We do have a Blinding Speed. We're definitely the Blinding Speed, the Negative Energy Field. It is hitting Gloomweaver, but it's also hitting 3 of us at this point. Explosive Reveal, destroy any number, deal 2 and 2. That's a means of getting normal as well as deal damage. Rest and Recover Would get me the Thorathian monolith back. So do I want to opt for more damage? It's not wise staying huge now, though, because I'm going to hit all of us for 1. It will hit Gloomy for 3, it will hit Heroes for 1. And then Combat Stance will go off and hit Skyscraper. I think I want to rest and recover and get Thorathian Monolith back. So we draw an aggression modulator since we became a smaller size. We draw a Proportionist from rest and recover, and then we can put the Thorathian Monolith back. I could actually... I don't have to draw 2 cards. I could discard a card, search my deck for an equipment, and then put it into play. So I could still Compulsion Canister, although without the +1 it's a little less exciting, also because there aren't any other targets in play. I could put a Rebounding Debilitator in play, and then we can control his damage dealing a little bit more. Because I already have a lot of cards, right? I have 10 cards. I don't think I need that many cards. I'm gonna lose an Aggression Modulator because it's not gonna be super useful now. And we'll put the Rebounding Debilitator in play. And we draw another Explosive Reveal. Alright, so we definitely have to Blinding Speed the negative energy field. But first, it does go off. And then I can destroy it. I have one more play. So we have 10 bursts in our trash. I'll put out the second Synaptic Interruption. But I think I'm gonna Research Grant. No. I think I'm gonna Experiment. If I Research Grant, I'll draw 2, discard 1, so I could discard the Sucker Punch. But if I Experiment, it's likely I'm gonna reveal at least 1 burst. And if I reveal at least 1 burst, it will definitely be in my trash, unless it's another Synaptic Interruption, which I don't think there is. So let's try that. Like, I could try it on any other hero again. I could try to get Twist the Ether again. Actually, I really want to get Twist the Ether, so I'm going to do Visionary again. Nope. Again, discards and not Twist the Ether, so that was a waste of an experiment. And I get a Fleet of Foot. So let's play Precognition so that I could use Turmoil on the environment. We have another Vast Following. Oh man. We definitely don't want that in play. There are cultists and relics in the trash. The Drum of Despair. Either discard 2 cards or destroy 1 of their cards. If they do neither, Gloomweaver deals them 3 Infernal. It will be reduced by 2 because of the Cortex Hyperstimulators. And then the Indigo Pin. At the end of that hero's turn, that hero's player discards a card chosen randomly. So the Drum of Despair, it's not going to act immediately, which is okay. And it's only going to do 1 damage, which isn't too bad. Nope, sorry, hold on. Cortex Hyperstimulator is only the first time each turn. Right. Right. Indigo Pin is the least bad. And then Vast Following on the very bottom. So, ongoings and trashes that we might want. I don't think we want to get a Synaptic Interruption. We have two in play, so I don't need to pull another one, and there aren't any there. And we do have a Foresight in our trash, but I don't think that's worth getting. So let's Turmoil on the environment. Claustrophobic Delusion. When this card enters play, destroy all other distortion cards. All non-hero targets other than the non-hero target with the lowest HP are immune to damage. So that's going to affect several things. So he is going to be playing the Indigo Pin. And when he plays it, the Indigo Pin is fine, but then Gloomweaver is immune to damage. On the other hand, if I play Ghostly Images, each player reveals the top card of the deck. If it is a one-shot, put it into play. If it is not a one-shot, discard it and deal that hero 2 psychic damage. This actually is pretty nice. It could put one-shots into play. On the other hand, we could take 2 damage. I think 2 damage is worth the risk. Especially since it's only a one-off. And Arrest the Mind. Alright, so I can stop Gloomweaver from dealing damage this turn. We do have a Rebounding Debilitator that's going to stop 1 instance of 4. And then Tachyon wants to redirect one of those. Smoke Bombs can go off. Currently it's going to go off on Visionary and Wraith and redirect it, which will reduce it by 1 to Skyscraper. So Skyscraper will take 3 twice and then a 4. A little scary though. I could just stop him from dealing damage, but then he doesn't hit himself. And we would really like him to, you know, hit himself more. And then there's nothing to Grappling Hook. So I think this is another turn of not play anything, because we don't have equipments that we want to play, or that we can play even. So skip. Now, is there any equipment in our trash we want? Or not in our trash, in our deck. We don't have a stun bolt yet, but you know, then I'd only be using 1 power, and I don't want to reduce Gloomweaver's damage that much. I want him to hit himself more, really. I mean, he's hitting heroes, but he's also hitting himself. Infrared eyepiece, but that's redundant with Visionary's power. And then the Mega Computer, which... Nah. We're just gonna hit him more. And there's the stun bolt. Alright, Ghostly Images. Alright, so does order matter for this? I think if I reveal a card that says destroy all environment cards, like from Skyscraper's deck, I probably don't want Skyscraper to go first. Tachyon and Wraith also have cards that can destroy environments, but they also can destroy an ongoing, and we can at least destroy Research Grant. Visionary does not have environment destruction. Ongoing destruction is only an ongoing card, so let's try Visionary. That's an ongoing, so it gets hit. Let's try Wraith. Equipment, hit. Tachyon, one shot. Nice. There we go. And then Skyscraper, one shot. So you're tiny. We have a... Oh, we went... It became a tiny card. Or we shrunk down in size, so we drew a card, which was a Compulsion Canister, which I would have liked to be able to play. Oh well. Man. We know what Gloomweaver was going to play. So Neutralizing Resonator we don't really want to play. Because it was going to be the Indigo Pin? Yeah, Indigo Pin. If I discard it, I mean, I know we're not going to see a vast following because we put both of the 2 down in the deck. I know in one game I actually kept track of the bottom cards of the deck, of the villain deck, but in this game I don't know what the bottom is other than the 2 bottom were the Drum of Despair and something else. Fast Following. And then there are certain cards above that, like a Chosen Disciple and a Vast Following and a Zombie Servant as well. So we could potentially see another Cursed Acolyte. But I think I'm just gonna put this in my hand. But we'll go ahead and put this in play. Because now we can prevent some instances of damage here. Right, so the Cortex Hyperstimulators are going to go off first. So we don't want to hit Tachyon because then she can't hypersonic, or what's the word? Synaptic interruption it. So if Wraith takes this, it would be 2 damage, but she will be able to hit Gloomweaver for 2. Or if I Synaptic Interruption it, or sorry, if I Smoke Bombs it, it will be 1 to Skyscraper versus 2 to Wraith. But I think we're going to Thorathian Monolith. I think I'm going to go ahead and let Wraith take this, because with Thorathian Monolith... Almost, no, I don't think... We have a lot of cards, though, is the thing. Ugh. But no, I think Thorathian Monolith and Proportionist... and her big size thing is going to be useful. I mean, if I become... I'm currently tiny. I can Compulsion Canister him twice, but that's only going to do 2 damage. Arcane Colossal Left Hook, discard a card, play... We don't have a tiny card. So now let's go ahead. Wraith is not... Oh... If I let Wraith take this, she becomes the lowest, and then Visionary would take the full hit. So no, she has to be considered to be the lowest. But we do have 2 Rebounding Debilitators, and they are going to stop the next 2 instances of damage. So Visionary first. Destroyer or put on top of your deck. Let's put on top. And then Skyscraper, put on top. And then Tachyon can now redirect it. There. Only 1 damage. This goes to Dark Visionary, and then he does 2. Okay. Yeah. Rathian hits things. And then sonic damage to all. Rebounding Debilitator that we put on top of our deck. And now let's see, so Fleet of Foot, for sure. There's the other rebounding, a Lightning Reflexes, Cerebral Hemorrhage, Jab. So if I Sucker Punch right now, then I could Lightning Reflexes into both of the Lightspeed Barrages, and then there'll be 2 more bursts in my trash. 12 plus 2 is 14, so 14 damage twice is 28. We'll be down to 41. I think it's still a little too early. But I'm gonna play 1. The Sucker Punch. But I'm not gonna do the either. Skip that. And let's just experiment on Tachyon. Every time I've tried not to, it's gone awry, and guess what? We're discarding. But we got one more burst in the trash, and we have a Sonic Vortex. This goes off. One card to play. Indigo Pin is going to have her discard something random, but it's a good chance she's going to discard something we weren't going to play anyway. Cerebral Emerge would destroy the Indigo Pin, but I might as well play Mind Spike to deal more damage to Gloomy. Because Wraith could still, you know, do things. And then let's Turmoil Gloomweaver. Grimoire of Curses or Profane Zealot. Profane Zealot. Reduce damage dealt to villain targets by 1. Grimoire of Curses. At the start of the villain turn, each player may discard 1 card. And then Gloomweaver deals each hero target blah blah blah. I think Grimoire of Curses, because we don't want the Profane Zealot to reduce damage, and then when the Profane Zealot is destroyed, play the top card of the villain deck. No. Suggestion, and then we lose the Cerebral Emerge. Rip the other damage dealer. 5 equipments for 10 damage. Throat Jab to do 2, but then Gloomy doesn't hit himself for a total of 6. I think I'm put the Stun Bolt out and then potentially Inventory Barrage the next turn. The 2 Lightspeed Barrages plus the Inventory Barrage should potentially kill Gloomy on the next turn. But let's just wail on him. Grappling Hook. Ethereal Bonds. The end of the villain turn, this card deals the hero target with the highest HP 2 energy. The hero can't deal damage, but they have to be dealt damage this way, which, because of damage reduction, Skyscraper was not dealt damage this way. Okay, so I believe I have a choice here. I'm going to try to set it up as a choice, but yeah, we do have a choice here between Smoke Bombs and Thorathian Monolith, at least. So we definitely want the Smoke Bombs to go off. So, Smoke Bombs. Visionary is the lowest. Gets redirected and then reduced by 1. 1 twice, and then -2. Actually, it would have been better to hit Skyscraper first with that. That would have been better use of damage reduction. But Tachyon can now Synaptic Interruption this before the Thorathian Monolith acts. And then Wraith is considered to be the lowest. Yeah, if I had selected Skyscraper first, that would have been a little bit better in terms of damage dealing, but whatever. It's fine. Grimoire of Curses, and then Gloomweaver hits everything, or all non-hero targets. Hits himself twice. So what's the better play right now? We don't have a tiny card, so I can't play both my Compulsion Canisters. It would deal 2 to Gloomweaver if I just play it, and then my Huge will do 3 to him for a total of 5. I could Colossal Left Hook, and I probably should at least, because this will do 3 damage. 3 damage, and then Explosive Reveal would do 2 and 2. It's probably the best source of things. Tectonic Chokeslam would do 4, but then would hit everyone for 1. Actually, that would hit Gloomweaver for more. 4 plus each target is 1 plus the Colossal Left Hook plus the huge power. But definitely start with Colossal Left Hook. Get rid of an Explosive Reveal. Play the Tectonic Chokeslam, hit Gloomy. Hits everyone. And then the huge power. This is going to destroy the ethereal bond, so Gloomy will regain 2 HP. So I probably should have factored that into my calculation. And then lightning reflexes, and then I can play all these cards. This is gonna 16, almost. He's down to 3. So we can potentially win the game if I experiment correctly. Put the first into play. It's not gonna win the game. There's the pushing the limits. And then I have to destroy something, so we'll lose research grant. And there's the other Lightspeed Barrage. But demoralization goes off. Unfortunately, we can't win on this turn. So it doesn't, like, I mean, Wraith is going to win for us. So I'm not going to bother doing anything on this turn. Oh yeah, I have to click. And then, might as well just throw everything at Gloomy, including the kitchen sink. And we won. A mint. Generally, I find Gloomy to be easier than Spite. But yeah. So, hit menu here. So, something I've just never really understood about difficulty rankings. Like, Gloomweaver... Actually, you can't see it here. I thought you could see it there. Gloomweaver is listed as difficulty 3. His variant, I think, is also listed as difficulty 3, although I don't know that that's actually listed anywhere. But these are difficulty 3 versus Spite, who is difficulty 2. I generally despise Spite more than Gloomweaver. Gloomweaver I actually, like, don't consider to be that difficult in general. Even, like, base Gloomweaver. Like, for being a difficulty 3 villain, he doesn't have much going for him. I mentioned earlier he doesn't have much card destruction cards. Sablepin says at the end of that hero's turn, that hero's player destroys one of their cards, or Gloomweaver deals that hero H psychic damage. So if you don't want to take that much damage, you have a choice of destroying one of your cards, but it's a choice. The other card destruction card is the Drum of Despair. Each player may discard 2 cards or destroy one of their cards, or be dealt H-1 infernal damage. It's like sort of like the Sablepin, except it's less potent because H-1. You have a choice between discarding 2 cards or destroying one of your cards, and it has more HP than the Sablepin, and it's a relic, so it can't be destroyed by end of days, for instance. But there's that. I thought there was a second one. What was the card I was thinking of? Grandma of Curses? Oh, Grandma of Curses isn't a card destruction. It just says you may discard a card. If you don't, more damage to everyone. So... And then the other, the Cursed Acolyte, does a lot of damage. Like in that game, it was doing 3 fire damage and 3 infernal damage because of the damage increases. The Chosen Disciple does damage based on the number of zombies in play. Strength of the Grave increases damage dealt by zombies by the number of zombies in play, so, if there are more zombies in play, it's bad, but the zombies only have 2 HP, so they're really easy to take out. Fast Following could put relics and cultists back into play from the trash, as well as play the top card, but I don't really associate Gloomweaver as a difficulty 3 villain, despite all that. Because, he doesn't have much in the way of card destruction. I mean, I guess like another villain that does another difficulty 3 villain that also lacks a lot of card destruction is Grand Warlord Voss. The only card destruction in Grand Warlord Voss's deck is the TCF Conqueror that says at the start of the villain turn destroy one hero ongoing card. He only has this one card and it acts at the start of the villain turn. Everything else, you know, just basically deals damage or plays additional cards or pulls cards from the trash or pulls cards from the trash. I guess, I mean, like, I consider Voss as harder than Gloomweaver because he has more damage dealing minions and he can get all of them back into play at once, but I don't really consider Gloomweaver that hard. The other thing, you know, another quirky thing is the fact that at the start of the villain turn, if 3 villain relics are in the villain trash, the heroes win. So you have an alternate win condition if you focus on the relics. So, I don't know. I'm rambling again, so sorry to distract from the end of this one shot, but thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed it, and I'll be back next week.